Alan, tell me about Queen of the Ring. It's an independent film that is in limited release in theaters. It is about a female wrestler when female wrestling was not a thing, was very much frowned upon.
Yeah,
Tell
not
me
only
about
frowned upon, but outlawed in many states. But this is the
Yes.
true story of Mildred Burke, the basically the first $1 million female athlete, played by Emily Brett Rickards. It tells her story from the very beginnings as a single mother, raised by a single mother, working in a diner. She falls in love with wrestling and wants to get into the business. And she goes to Billy Wolf, played by Josh Lucas, one of the great wrestlers at that time. And they fall in love, and he trains her to become the greatest women's champion in wrestling. But the problem is that women's wrestling is outlawed in most states. And so the women's wrestling is subjugated to basically a carnival show. And this whole movie is about her fight, her struggle to be on the top of her craft, to bring legitimacy to female wrestling. A lot of known wrestlers are in this movie in terms of characters being played, such as Mae Young and Gorgeous George. And then a lot of up and coming wrestlers are in the movie, mostly from AEW. Trinity Fatu is the only WWE personality in the movie. Let's see. I'll be honest. I know you didn't like this movie. I liked this movie.
You gotta let me speak for myself.
Okay, I'll let you speak for yourself.
Let me speak for myself. I have issues.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know what you think. Maybe you liked it. Maybe you didn't. I did like this. My issue with the movie, it's too damn long.
That was my issue. It's 2 hours 15 minutes.
Yeah. And that's the second movie I saw. That's the first movie yesterday that I saw. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
2:15.
And but I did, as a wrestling fan, as someone also, I'm not as familiar with the territories. I'm a WWE guy, but as a wrestling fan, I did find it interesting. It's woke only in the sense that it tells the true story of what it was like being a woman in this era. We're talking the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, exactly. Look, if it was a modern story, yeah, you would roll your eyes. But this is truly at a time when women's wrestling was illegal in many places.
Yeah, and her success, part of it was entering a marriage contract with Billy Wolf, and she did that to basically protect herself and say that, if she's going to build women's wrestling, she wants a financial piece of it, and the only way she could do it at that time was to enter into a contract. And then it kind of gets into the basic wrestling tropes of working too many hours, too long hours, the politics of it all. But what Mildred and Billy were able to do was to broaden, not only to make women's wrestling legitimate, but he was also on the forefront of bringing diversity and bringing first African American wrestlers into overall wressling. If you're a wrestling fan, especially AEW, you're going to recognize people in this movie. I liked it, but my only qualm is it's too long. It's too long.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it as much as you. You are a bigger wrestling fan than I. I'm a casual viewer that I don't follow wrestling. But every time I watch it, I love it. I love the big personalities. I like the true drama and the stories. But this, I felt like when I was watching it, because it's a period piece, but I felt like the budget was really low. And it felt like they worked really hard with what they have to make it look like a period piece. But I felt the haircuts were off. Like, I don't know. It just didn't ring authentic. I felt the budget was anemic when it came to selling the period. Additionally, I felt this is an amazing story. It's a sports story, which I like. It's a struggle story, but it should say something about modern times. And I felt like, while it might be accurate, what is it trying to say? So I felt like as I was watching it, I'd rather see a 90-minute documentary about the real person, the real Mildred, than this movie. So for me, it's like a 4 out of 10. It's a pass. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a 7. And I think you got to stop saying period when describing the film. Yeah.
Alan, it's International Women's Day tomorrow.
All
How
right, it's a
dare
period
you
piece.
say that?
It's a period piece. It was of its period. But no, you know, to me, I think the wrestling industry is just fascinating. I think this is an aspect of it. I think it is better than most biopics because usually, you just really get the sense that when you watch an indie biopic, it's and this happened, and so we're going to do a scene about this event. We're going to do a scene about this event, but it was really about the business, the industry of wrestling at that time, the women trying to break into that industry, and just how the fact that for some weird reason, wrestling has been on the forefront of culture when it comes to women, when it comes to racial issues. That of anything, wrestling has been that thing that propels our culture forward to to broaden women's roles in the business and the roles of minorities in the business as well. And this is a movie that just exemplifies that.
Well, it's a pass for me, but you are recommending it.
Yeah. But hang in there, it's a long one.